Welcome back to Forgotten Genocides, the unrelenting inferno where we drag the buried horrors into the merciless light. Today we plunge bayonet deep into the 1990s abyss with the Bosnian Genocide, ethnic cleansing in the 1990s, the Balkan bloodbath that devoured 100,000 lives in a frenzy of fratricide, the deadliest European slaughter since the Holocaust, a betrayal so intimate it turned neighbors into butchers while the world watched in cowardly silence. Imagine it. Bosnia's emerald valleys cradling centuries of Muslim, Serb, and Croat harmony. Sarajevo's cafes buzzing with poetry and plum brandy. Families weaving weddings across faith stripped asunder by the venom of ancient hatreds weaponized into extermination. Over the next minutes, we'll hack through the hell. Yugoslavia's poisoned collapse, the siege of Sarajevo's starving screams, Omarska's torture chambers, Srebrenica's slaughter of 8,371 in days, the women's rape camps, the UN's gutless gaze that still reeks of genocide. Viewer discretion, its reckoning will flay your heart alive. Its education baptized in the blood of the Balkans, a roar that demands your rage and your remorse. If the 100,000 feet seconds unfinished screams stab your silence, subscribe now and surge with us. Let's lacerate the legacy of the safe areas lie, or let its ghost devour us whole. To unmask this monster, we must unearth the festering foundation, not the tidy ethnic conflict of 1990s headlines, but the Tito tombs collapse that unleashed the demons. Yugoslavia, that fragile federation stitched by a dictator's iron fist, cracked in 1991 when Slovenia and Croatia seceded. Serbia's Slobodan Milosevic slithering to the throne on waves of greater Serbia venom. What the annals asphyxiate? The propaganda plague? Belgrade's TV spewing Turks and Ustachi as eternal enemies? Karajic's radio ranting of Muslim fundamentalists to be cleansed? Melodic's maps marking Bosniak villages for extinction? By April 1992, the siege of Sarajevo began 1,425 days of sniper terror, 11,541 civilians murdered in their own streets, children like Zlata Filipovic penning diaries of despair while shells shredded playgrounds. The deadliest in its domestic delirium, neighbors who shared coffee yesterday turning sniper scopes today, mosques dynamited while minarets moaned. Up to that precipice, Vukovar's 1991 massacre, 260 hospital patients executed, was the overture. But Bosnia? A symphony of savagery, the deadliest because it dared the divine in daylight. A civil war that was genocide by another name. Europe's heart hacked from its chest while the continent clinked champagne in Maastricht. Feel the fracture? This wasn't ancient hatred, it was engineered enmity. A genocide that scaled from whispers to worldwide wailing in years. The camps Omarska, Ternopoli, Karatur weren't prisons. They were factories of annihilation, 200 sites where 50,000 Bosniaks and Croats were flayed alive. What the wire reports whisper away. The White House of Omarska, men crammed into hangars. Beaten with iron bars till bones burst like bread, throats slit for sport, survivors forced to drink their brother's blood. Women like Srebrenica Sigilj, raped 150 times in 40 days. Their bodies battlegrounds for ethnic purification, pregnancies a legacy of loathing, deadliest in its domestic desecration. Former schoolmates wielding electric drills, neighbors nailing testicles to tables, the air thick with the stench of burning flesh and shattered sanctity. Up to 2,000 camps, 90% run by Serbs, where re-education meant extermination. Fikret Alex emaciated frame behind barbed wire, the photo that pierced the world's conscience too late. The deadliest because it dared the divine in daylight, turning the cradle of coexistence into a cemetery of the innocent. Feel their final flutter? A generation gutted before it could grow, their absence an ache that aches through eternity. July 1995, Srebrenica, a UN safe area, became the slaughterhouse of shame. 8,371 Bosniak men and boys executed in 5 days of methodical murder. What the blue helmets buried? Melodic's mocking toast with brandy, Dutch Bat's desertion? 400 peacekeepers watching as buses separated sons from mothers, the women sent to Kladanj while the men marched to meadows of massacre. Podokari's battery factory, 1,000 crammed in suffocating heat. then trucked to fields where bullets sang their requiem, bodies bulldozed into mass graves that still shift with the rain, up to 8,371 in days, faster than Rwanda's rampage, the deadliest single act of the war, a genocide within a genocide. The deadliest, because it dared the divine under the UN flag. A safe area that was a slaughter pen. The world's whimper, a whisper of complicity. Feel the finality? Mothers clutching photos of sons who vanished into the void, their absence an ache that aches through eternity. The world's whimper in Bosnia wasn't ignorance. It was iniquity incarnate, a global gaffe that gilded the genocide with guilt. What the diplomatic dispatches dissemble. The arms embargo that starved Bosniaks while Serbs stockpiled, the UN's dual key that locked mercy away. The safe areas lie that lured lambs to slaughter. Up to 100,000 dead, 2 million displaced. 50,000 women raped while Clinton clinked champagne. Majors level playing field a farce. The EU's Van Soen plan a partition of the dead. The deadliest in its dawning denial. Karadzic sipping coffee in Pale while Sarajevo bled. The ICTY's tardy tribunal a token after the tombs were full. This was an oversight. It was obscenity. A genocide that scaled from streets to state secrecy. The world watching with wired windows while Bosnia burned. Feel the farce. A continent convulsed while capitals clinked champagne. The Drina muddied with the mud of mass murder. The genocide's ghost goading us to gaze inward at our own genocidal gaze. Bosnia's nadir of naders. Not the kill count's cold calculus, but the nadir of neglect that nurtured the nightmare 100,000 eviscerated in camel bombings. A genocide that scaled from whispers to worldwide wailing in years the deadliest, because it dared the divine in daylight, a civil war that was genocide by another. Feel the finality? Families flensed in front yards, fiddles forever silenced in Sarajevo's streets. Futures flayed from the flesh of the fledgling. The scale, a black hole of brotherhood, where 90% of Bosniak men in Srebrenica vanished in days, where rape camps became ethnic purification factories, where the Drina ran red for years. But in this void, valor vaulted. The Sarajevo Tunnel of Hope. 800 meters of defiance under sniper fire. The women of Srebrenica marching yearly to graves that still yield bones, their white headscarves a phalanx against forgetting. Up to 30,000 identified through DNA. The ICTY convicting 90 perpetrators, yet Karadzic and Melodic lived free for years. Denial's daggers still drawn in Belgrade. The deadliest because it dared the divine under the UN flag. A safe area that was a slaughter pen, yet from its depths. A phoenix forged Bosnia's fragile federation, Sarajevo's scars blooming into festivals. A genocide that birthed a bomb for the broken world. How can we behold such blackness without breaking? The hills themselves heave with the weight, the deadliest genocide not in death's tally, but in the daring to dream of division, a dirge that demands we dance in unity or dissolve in discord. Bosnia's legacy? A laceration on liberty's ledger, birthing the ICTY's precedent, Dayton's fragile peace. A nation stitched from the shreds of Sissam's Sarajevo's roses and bullet holes, Mostar's bridge rebuilt as a bridge of blood and bone. Yet shadows stalk, denial's daggers in Republika Srpska, youth yearning for the yesteryears of Yugoslavia, the world's whisper of never again wilting in whimpers, the untold. Survivors on breaking Alchemy Mir Soljicic's asterisk postcards from the grave asterisk. The women of Srebrenica's 25-year march, their white headscarves a thunder against the thunder of forgetting. Sources: David Rhodes asterisk endgame asterisk, Samantha Powers asterisk a problem from hell asterisk. Archives: Srebrenica photos, Airy memorial testimonies. If this apocalypse annihilated your illusions, if Bosnia's 100,000 ghosts grip your gut like a vice like this video, unleash your lament in comments. Which thread of this tapestry of terror tugs hardest at your heart? Share to scorch the shadows. Subscribe to Forgotten Genocides for more maelstroms, like our next mauling of the Cambodian cataclysm. Thank you for withstanding the whirlwind with us. In their undying light, we defy the dark.